The thing she always wanted was a horse. Bonnie thought little girls like horses. I'll make a toy horse that has a combable tail, and girls can play with it much as they would play with a doll. It should be small and soft and cuddly.
This was a doll you played with like a human doll.
Marvel was producing animation My Little Pony that came out in 1986.
My Little Pony, My Little Pony.
Oh, My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
I love you, My Little Pony.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
Based on like how I look right now, I think that this is going to be the most respectful comment section of any video on YouTube. Hi everybody, and welcome to the My Little Pony Generation 1 Iceberg. I've covered Generation 1, which is everything from 1982. Depending on the country, it goes from 1981 to like 1995. But this is going to be talking about that 80s My Little Pony. Hence the title, 80s My Little Pony Iceberg. As I record, I have yet to edit this, but I have put all the audio clips into my editing software, and it has come around to like 2 hours. So by the time you're watching this, I can only imagine how massive this video is going to be. And I didn't want to do it in parts. I know keeping people waiting isn't something I like to do. I know there are pros and cons to like doing multiple things, like, you can get them out sooner and stuff, but I don't know, you know what we need more of? We need more long YouTube videos. And I say that half ironically, because like every YouTube video now is like 2 hours. It's like either an iceberg or like a deep dive into, I feel like it would be more of a treat, and it would be more of a fun thing if it were longer. It's nice to put something on for background noise too, which explains the way I'm editing this video, which is like nothing. There's gonna be clips, but do not expect creepypasta, My Little Pony levels of editing in this video. I would also like to thank, before we start with the My Little Pony G1 Iceberg, everybody who helped with voiceover, everybody who suggested stuff for research, everybody, you guys. I like to thank the fans on Patreon, including Keaton Cryer, Cascadiarch, Bad Bessie, Damian, Booth Taste, Marshmallow, Zeflo, and Goose Nerd. And everything. But without further ado, let's get into it. The My Little Pony Generation 1 Iceberg. Level 1. Returning characters. On the actual iceberg image, it says returning ponies, but only talking about the pony characters would be leaving a lot out. So for ponies, you've got Twilight, Applejack, Moondancer. You've also got minor characters, as well as mentions of Firefly. There are others I missed, but feel free to shout out some other legacy ponies in the comments. Spike the Dragon gets repurposed, and so do a couple of the villains from the original My Little Pony and Friends series. T-Rex, Grogar, the SMOOZE. Although Megan the human girl doesn't come back, there is one character who has a cameo in Equestria Girls who wears the same outfit. And I mentioned this in the first iceberg. Lauren Faust, when she was making the 2010s version of MLP, Friendship is Magic, based the characters off G1 MLP toys she had when she was a kid, which include the main 6, as well as Princess Celestia being based on Majesty. Although, the main 6 do have some different names. Like, Surprise became Pinkie Pie, and Sparkler became Rarity. But other ponies like Applejack got to stay. Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito, who went on to become sort of a living meme, voiced the Grundle King in the 1986 My Little Pony movie. There's a lay epic screen cap of the movie featuring a squirrel looking stoned off her ass with the name Danny DeVito that gets shared around a lot. As for the character himself, Danny does a good job at portraying him. Seriously, the Grundles were one of my favorite parts of the movie. Megan. Megan Williams is a character who first appears in the original 1984 My Little Pony TV special, and is a recurring character throughout the series. She's supposed to be an audience surrogate for the kids watching, same goes for her two siblings, Molly and Danny. The reason she's even mentioned as a whole entry on the Iceberg is that humans in the MLP universe aren't a natural occurrence, at least in every subsequent generation. Fans of later generations who haven't really given the old ones much thought might see this connection between the pony world and what is very clearly meant to be our world and think, wow, this is crazy. Though, that's not the only connection to the human world that we have in Ponyland. Megan was also released as a human toy with this human doll. These were packaged in with a pony named Sundance. There was also another release of a baby version of Sundance, but instead of coming with Megan, there was Molly, her little sister. Retro-style ponies / merch. To capitalize on nostalgia and the avid collector scene for vintage ponies, Hasbro's made some efforts to get some G1 related stuff out there as of late. A few years ago, the company Basic Fun licensed the My Little Pony brand to produce retro-styled ponies with a near identical look and feel to the originals. Australia had these limited edition G1 style plushies, as well as these fluffier ones made from recycled material. Licensed merch with G1 ponies can be found on anything from stickers to t-shirts to coloring books. You know. Of course, who could forget the world's smallest My Little Pony, released by Super Impulse, and the Funko Pops. Crossover series. Being the licensing giant that it is, Hasbro's put out several collector edition ponies based on different properties. Most of these are from Hasbro's disgustingly corpulent library of IPs. You've got Power Rangers, Transformers, Dungeons & Dragons, Lightbright, and Twister, with potentially more to come. There's also a Ghostbuster pony, and most interestingly, a color-inverted version of Applejack with branding based around Stranger Things, based on the upside-down dimension from the show. So, you know, upside-down Applejack with upside-down color scheme. Huh? One more little comment. I think it's really a missed opportunity that the D&D ponies aren't the size of actual D&D figures, but what do I know? Bush Woolies. The Bush Woolies are a species of characters from the G1 series. After the ponies save them from an underground prison camp, they sort of just hang around and tag along for some adventures. A lot of the more out there characters from the show never got released as toys. The Bush Woolies are an exception, as you can find these little guys packaged in with a few ponies. T-Rack vs. T-Rex. T-Rack, spelled like this, is the main antagonist of the first My Little Pony TV special. He would be brought back nearly 30 years later in the Friendship is Magic series, though his name would be spelled differently for some reason. That, and he was notably less human looking. Pre-G4 fandom. Before the rabid fanbase and brony subculture that came around in the 2010s, the My Little Pony fandom was pretty different. I've talked about it in a few videos, but pre-Generation 4 in the 2000s, most discussion around MLP was about the toys. Back in the day, you had collectors' websites, blogs, and small meetups. The fandom was also predominantly female, with a large number of fans growing up with the original G1. G1.5. My Little Ponytails is a show that ran in the early 90s. It starred these 7 ponies who were only released as toys in the UK, although the show never aired over there. The Rock and Beat ponies also had a few cameos as Melody's band. The show is referred to as Generation 1.5 since it's separate from My Little Pony and Friends and features some G1 ponies. It's a common misconception that I still see that the show is G2, when G2 is something else entirely. If you want more My Little Ponytails content, I made an entire Iceberg covering the show, so go watch that. Shooby-Doo. This is the catchphrase of the Sea Pony characters in My Little Pony and Friends. When the Sea Ponies enter a scene, they sing this little thing. Although, Shooby-Doo is mostly remembered from the song Call Upon the Sea Ponies, which deserved all the hype it gets. Honestly, that song goes hard. Nothing Can Stop the SMOOZE. Speaking of songs that go hard, Nothing Can Stop the SMOOZE is a song from the My Little Pony movie, sung by the witches and the all-consuming purple blob, the SMOOZE. This and the Shooby-Doo thing get their own entries because of how they're semi-recognizable among fans of later generations. Like, oh yeah, it's that thing from G1. Pony poses. Ponies in earlier generations were molded into several different unique poses, instead of whatever the hell this is in G4 and G5. Unlike the main brushable style ponies now, you'd have ponies with different positions for the head, hooves, and whatever else. Some notable poses include the original 6 Collector's pose, the sitting down Bubbles pose, and the Shy Unicorn Gusty pose. These poses can be differentiated by the copyright markings on the hooves, though others you can just go on any pony identifier website and match it to the one you have. Backcard stories. Like a lot of dolls and action figures, G1 ponies would have these blurbs written on a pony on their respective back card or back of the box depending on which pony specifically. These were usually cute little stories about the ponies going out to play or having a tea party, basically what most G4 fans think the G1 show is. They clue the owner into the pony's personality and interests, but not much beyond that. Comparing this to something like Hasbro's G.I. Joe line from the time, the pony back cards leave a lot more room for you to use your imagination. Anime art style. If you watch the very first My Little Pony special, which for the rest of the video we're just going to call Rescue at Midnight Castle, if you watch that, you'll notice the distinct anime art style. Big eyes, the shape of the mouths, and the snappy way the characters move. The special was outsourced to Toei Animation of all places, so no wonder it looks like this. Later G1 outings would bring on ACOM, a South Korean studio, with them being the only foreign studio to work on Generation 1.5. Seeing the first special makes you wonder what the rest of G1 and the entire franchise would have looked like instead of the more Western, Disney-esque look that we'd get. They almost tried it again for G3, but I guess we'll never get a true MLP anime. My Little Pony: A New Generation cameo. In the recently released My Little Pony: A New Generation movie, there's a brief scene where a scene from G1 is shown on a set of TVs for like half a second. This is weird to see in Generation 5, since that takes place in a world where humans aren't seen in Equestria. Also, in G1, Earth ponies, unicorns, and Pegasi are all friends, which isn't the case for most of the G5 movie, especially not during this scene. Also, the window here says 20% off, like 20% cooler from G4. Get it? MLP Generations. MLP Generations is a series of comics published by IDW that, as of me writing this, is still going on. The series is a crossover between G1 and G4, featuring ponies from both eras. Throughout the 1980s, Hasbro tried and succeeded with keeping the My Little Pony toy line fresh. They did this by introducing a ton of gimmicks, most of these being different pony species. There's the classic Earth ponies, unicorns, Pegasi, and introduced in year 2 of the toy line. There's Sea Ponies, also year 2, which from what I remember was 1982 to 1983, I could be wrong. Ponies with butterfly wings showed up multiple times, Flutter Ponies in year 4, Summer Wing Ponies in year 6, Windy Wing Ponies in year 7, all basically the same thing. There's even the term wingers, which refers to all 3 of them as the same thing. Some ponies had gems for eyes. The Rainbow Ponies came out in year 2 and year 3 of the line, with their cousins, the Rainbow Curl Ponies, arriving in year 8. Apparently, the backstory for the Rainbow Curl Ponies is that after helping a rainbow get its color back, they were given magical crystals that gave them rainbow-colored manes. Wow, what a cute backstory. Surely all the other gimmick ponies are like that. Like, you know, they have a cute backstory. A cute, not evil backstory. Foreshadowing. Multi-episode arcs. So, just something I think that should be noted about My Little Pony and Friends, just because it's going to be more confusing when we talk more in depth about the show later. The stories in the show weren't told episodically or through like season-long arcs either. They had these episode-long arcs with multiple parts. Most are 2 to 4 11-minute episodes, equaling the length of one 22-minute episode or a 44-minute TV special. But the first one in the DVD release, The End of Flutter Valley, is 10 11-minute episodes, and it has no reason to be that long. It drags so much. But yeah, that's why if you go into like the Tubi TV release of the show or any DVD, it always says, you know, X arc part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Level 2. Gusty is Bart Simpson. Nancy Cartwright provides the voice for Posey, Baby Heartthrob, and Truly in My Little Pony and Friends. She also voices the character Gusty. The voice for that character sounds similar to her most famous role as Bart Simpson from The Simpsons.
Anywhere? Oh no, Shady's nothing but bad luck. Ay, caramba.
3D symbols. Though most of the symbols, or cutie marks, on G1 ponies are just painted on, there are a few instances of symbols that were 3D models instead. Princess ponies had these little brooches, the Sunday Best ponies had 3D symbols all themed after ice cream, merry-go-round ponies from year 7 had blankets molded onto them in place of a symbol, and the Precious Pocket ponies from year 9 had coin purses attached to them. Saddles. Early playsets like year 2's Show Stable and Pretty Parlor featured saddles and bridles as accessories for the ponies. This is weird, seeing as how the ponies, for the most part, are autonomous and only ridden by one character, who wouldn't be released until a year later, and is barely a focus of the line. Things like this were phased out in later years in order to broaden the possibilities of what My Little Pony could be, beyond just a regular horse. So in later years, we got things like Paradise Estate, and Ponywear. Glow-in-the-dark ponies. Despite the name of this entry, the glow-and-show ponies from year 9 aren't actually completely glow-in-the-dark. Their bodies are translucent with confetti inside, only some of which glows in the dark. Though we never got one, a classic full green glow-in-the-dark pony would have been fun. My Little Pony and Friends, the series, was actually ran in blocks that featured one episode of My Little Pony and another episode of some other Hasbro-based show. This would either be Potato Head Kids, Moon Dreamers, or Glow Friends, featuring that one thing from Big Mouth. There's a VHS release of a few episodes from the UK that also includes the 1983 Charmkins TV special, based on the toy line of the same name. Charmkins was never shown on the My Little Pony and Friends block, so it's weird that they'd include it in this release, but to be fair, it does say My Little Pony and Other Friends, not My Little Pony and Friends. Takara. In 1985, the Japanese company Takara produced their own Japanese adaptation of My Little Pony, with different designs and characters. The My Little Pony brand was licensed by Hasbro after Hasbro licensed Takara's Microchange and Diaclone lines, which would be rebranded as the Transformers. Baby Fancy Pants Ponies. The Baby Fancy Pants Ponies came out in year 7, and are really only notable for what they canonize in the G1 universe. If ponies need to wear diapers, that means they have to, Prince Pony. Nightshade, formerly spelled either with a K or an N, we don't know, is a prominent character in the Bright Lights story arc of My Little Pony and Friends. It's never been outright stated by any of the show staff, but people theorize that his appearance and voice is based on Prince, a popular music artist from the time. Mimic Rarity. Mimic is a pony who appears in the story The Magic Horseshoes. Not many of her were produced, which led to her being sought after by collectors. She also has a unique color compared to a lot of other G1 ponies. So Soft Ponies. So Soft Ponies were ponies whose bodies had a short layer of fuzz all over them. This is also referred to as flocking. Just by looking at them, you can probably already guess what they feel like. So Soft Ponies came out in year 4 and year 5, with one of them being bundled in with a Megan doll. Another, Best Wishes, coming with the My Little Pony Party Gift Pack, and Satin and Lace being a mail-order exclusive. European exclusives. There are a surprising number of ponies that are exclusive to Europe or other territories. A lot of them were part of existing waves, like the German Rainbow Ponies, but some others are completely original, like the Playschool Baby Ponies from year 8 and year 9's Romance Ponies. And of course, the 7 pony friends from the My Little Ponytail series and the Berrytown family, who also appear in My Little Ponytails, but are called the Barrington family, and as I said in the My Little Ponytails Iceberg, their daughter has 2 names. Collector's Inventory. The My Little Pony Collector's Inventory is a series of books published by Summer Hayes, a coordinator for the My Little Pony Fair conventions, and as of 2015, is a contracted promoter for the My Little Pony brand. The book's use is stated in the title, an unofficial, full-color, illustrated collector's price guide to the first generation of MLP, including all US ponies, playsets, and accessories released before 1997. As of this video, there's also a collector's inventory for Generation 2 and 3. Scented Plastic. Certain ponies, like the Sweetberry and Sunday ponies from year 6, and Perfume Puff ponies from year 7, used scented plastic to give the ponies unique smells. As you can imagine, a lot of these lose their scents over time. Pony Clothes. There are a ton of clothes and accessories for G1 ponies to wear. Starting in year 3, pony wear became a thing, where pony outfits would be sold separately, like most fashion dolls. Other accessories came packaged in with the ponies, like a barrette or a princess crown. Some clothes came with bundles, like the Party Gift Pack, which came with the official My Little Pony Party Panties. There were also clothes for Megan to wear, including the Country Jamboree outfit that she wears in most episodes of the TV show. Fact File. My Little Pony Fact File was a collection of bios for each pony which came in a small ring binder. The text on each pony's page would usually be identical to the background stories on the UK toy packaging, so nothing groundbreaking or revealing about the world or characters, except for the fact that the flutter ponies bring good luck wherever they go. The final pages of the fact file have line-drawn template pages for most types of pony, allowing owners to design their own additions to Ponyland. Wow, it's almost like they knew. Wind Whistler Trans. People like to headcanon Wind Whistler, a pony who appeared in the MLP and Friends show, as transgender. This is because of her deeper voice compared to the rest of the ponies at Paradise Estate, and her color scheme. The light blue and pink appear on the transgender pride flag. EverythingIsFine.jpg. The name of this entry refers to a screen cap from the Magic Coins, where Wind Whistler and Megan stand in the middle of a fire. It sometimes shows up as a meme and kind of looks like the famous This Is Fine comic by Casey Green. Sweet Talkin' Ponies. The Sweet Talkin' Ponies were released in year 10. These two ponies, Chatterbox and Talks a Lot, would play voice clips when you squeeze the area where their cutie mark was. Phrases include, "I love you," "I'm pretty," or "comb my hair." And according to PonylandPress.com, the Mexican version of the Sweet Talkin' Ponies would say, "Soy de Mexico." Literally, "I'm from Mexico." Comics. Unlike almost every other Hasbro 80s property, My Little Pony never received its own Marvel Comics tie-in, but in the UK, G1 had two comic books, My Little Pony, which featured stories about just the ponies, and My Little Pony and Friends, which included the Moondreamers, among others. The comic books were more like magazines, featuring puzzles, activity club pages, and more. My Little Pony ran from 1985 to 1993 and had 223 issues, while My Little Pony and Friends ran from 1987 to 1994 and had 51 issues. Ember. Ember is the name of a pony who made history twice as being the first baby pony ever produced and the first mail order pony ever produced. Ember came in three colors: white, blue, and purple. The purple variant appeared in Rescue at Midnight Castle, and looks different from the baby ponies in the show, being a lot taller and skinnier than the others. Big Brother Ponies. The Big Brother ponies were introduced in year 5 of the toy line, and appear in the story Somnambula. All their cutie marks are themed around traditionally boyish interests, like sports and vehicles like boats and trains. The in-universe reason that the Big Brother ponies don't appear in the show is that they've been having a year-long race across the entire world, and only return for their debut episode. That means the Somnambula arc would have to be one of the last episodes in the show chronologically. Twice as Fancy Ponies. The Twice as Fancy Ponies have markings all over their bodies and not just their flanks. This is something they do in future generations as well as in later years of G1, just with different names. You have Sunshine Ponies, Rockin' Beat Ponies, some of the pony families, Flower Fantasy Ponies. Year 10 had the Color Swirl Ponies, which look like Philly Swirl Popsicles. Released in the same year for the 10th anniversary of My Little Pony, there was the Birthday Pony, decorated with this confetti-type design. My Pretty Pony. This was mentioned in the original MLP Iceberg, but My Pretty Pony is a toy Hasbro put out in 1981, and is the precursor to My Little Pony. Unlike the small, soft, colorful ponies that would come later, this pony was 10 inches tall and made of hard plastic. It could blink its eyes, wiggle its ears, and wiggle its tail. It's said that when the marketing director at Hasbro brought one of these home, his wife saw it and suggested that they should make it soft and cuddly, which led to the later pony designs. My Pretty Pony came in a few variants. One came with the pony Butterscotch and was called My Pretty Pony and Beautiful Baby, and one that resembles Peachy with a pink coat and hearts for a symbol. Clipper. Clipper is a male baby pony who is available through mail order. It's possible that he could be the first mail order pony in the toy line, though there could be some other secret boy pony to steal his spot, that you can shout out in the comments. Mail order ponies. Mail order ponies were something that happened from G1 to G3, wherein you'd send in proofs of purchase and money for shipping in exchange for an exclusive pony that could only be delivered through the mail. Due to their limited availability, mail order ponies are pretty rare. The elusive Rapunzel pony is the rarest of all. Based on the fairy tale, Rapunzel has longer hair than most ponies, with a few bits of tinsel woven in. From what information is available online, she can go for around $800 or more. Other mail-order exclusives include the twice as fancy baby ponies, the birthflower ponies, the previously mentioned Baby Ember and Clipper, and Little Tot. The last one is notable because for every person that ordered a Little Tot pony through the mail, one would be donated through the Toys for Tots charity organization. Princess Dragons. Spike isn't the only dragon character from Generation 1. The Year 5 princess ponies would come with these dragons, who all reuse the same mold from Spike, just with different colors. There's Fiery, Flash, Spiny, Sparks, Smokey, and Prickles. These dragons never showed up in the My Little Pony TV show, but did in some promotional material. Customs. Custom My Little Pony figures have been a thing for a while. With the endless possibilities of symbol designs, and with custom ponies being relatively easy to make, no clothes or additional molding involved for most of them, it's no wonder why custom ponies have become such a big part of the collecting community. Level 3. Katrina Drug Allegory. If you know anything about cartoons in the 80s, you know that they loved their anti-drug PSAs. Gem and the Holograms, another Hasbro show, had one. Of course, you can't forget Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue, basically Avengers Endgame but replaced Thanos with weed. Bravestar and Captain Planet were even willing to kill kids on screen to get the point across. My Little Pony is way more subtle with their message, but it's definitely still there. The special Escape from Katrina features the title character overcoming her addiction to these potions that give her magic powers. They show how she'll go to any length to make them, enslaving the bush woolies and ponies, how she used to be beautiful, how it ruined her life. The special has a sweet ending where she and her boyfriend, minion, bestie, get to relive the good old days. It's a very human depiction of this kind of thing, especially for an 80s cartoon. It's better than Bravestar, where smoking apparently turns you into like a weird rage zombie. Also, does anybody want a Bravestar Iceberg? Sound off in the comments if you do. Pony Friends. Pony Friends were a series of non-pony characters released by Hasbro in years 5 through 7. Some are normal animals you'd expect, like giraffe, camel, zebra, lamb, and then you've got Cutiesaurus. According to this My Little Pony catalog from the time, there were supposed to be human characters released alongside the Pony Friends. The human Pony Friends wouldn't be released, however, and only exist as prototypes. Cha-Cha the Llama was a Pony Friend who returned in blind bags for G4.5. Speaking of G4.5, that generation introduced the Wildsiders, who didn't get any merchandise, but are still the same concept. And of course, you can't overlook the non-pony characters in Generation 4 who'd have toys made of them, like Zecora the Zebra. Giant Plush Sundance. Giant, one-of-a-kind, life-size plushes of Sundance and Baby Sundance were created as a promotional thing, and were featured in this My Little Pony magazine, along with live-action Megan and Molly. To my knowledge, the Baby Sundance plush has never been found, but Adult Sundance was found at a yard sale in Quebec. She was beaten up in an awful condition but was restored by her current owner. Said current owner, Drusilla, recounted the story of obtaining the plush in a post on the MLP Arena forums.
Every weekend, my boyfriend and I would go out to local garage sales, church sales, and secondhand stores in search of ponies. Sometimes we would find some, and other times my boyfriend would find old Transformers that he collects. One day, a house not even 5 minutes from my boyfriend's house was having a garage sale. I'm talking literally around the corner from his place. A place where he has walked by 1,000 times and never noticed something very important. That Saturday, the owners were having a garage sale, a very big one. There were many tables, but nothing really good or worth buying. I should also mention that the yard on this property is very long and just big in general. I was digging through some boxes when my boyfriend mentions, "Oh yeah, this is the house with the big horse thing in the yard." I didn't really pay attention. I thought it was just one of those lawn decoration that you see around. You know, those plastic brown real horse garden ornaments. He then looked in their backyard and said, "Hey, there is that horse thing." I stopped digging through the box and looked up and immediately froze and did not move. I got giant goosebumps on my skin. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and my mouth was hanging wide open. I then smacked him on the arm and yelled, "That is not a horse thing. That is a giant Sundance." He was all like, "Well, how was I to know?" I nearly killed him. I really did, lol. Again, I told him, "How can you not know that is a Sundance when the pony is standing on our bureau at home?" I asked the lady having the garage sale if I could go see your horse in the backyard, and she said, "Go ahead." Now, I live live in Quebec, Canada, so everything here is French, and my French is not that great, but me and the lady managed to understand each other. I walked over to the giant Sundance and touched her. She is like a so soft with real feeling fur, something like velour. I also pushed on her body a little bit and she moved. I didn't think she weighed that much. When I first saw her, I thought she was made out of something hard, but looking more closely, she is made out of fiberglass and material. She actually weighs in at 24 pounds. She is 43 inches high, about 3.5 feet, 40 inches long, a little over 3 feet, and 16 inches wide, about 1.5 feet. Sundance was filthy dirty. She had bugs crawling all over her, her hair was dried, faded, and breaking off in my hands. Pink hair, cymbals, and bridle had lost a lot of their color. The poor girl was also full of bird poop. The people of the house kept her outside for the summer and in a car garage for the winter. I asked the lady where she got the horse, and she told me she bought it from a garage sale in Ontario. I asked her if the horse was for sale, and she said no. I was heartbroken to hear that. She had said they were having a garage sale and were trying to make space in the garage and get rid of stuff. I asked her again if the horse was for sale for the right price. She told me anything is for sale for the right price. I only had $60 on me, Canadian, and I asked her if she would take $60 for it. She went into her house to talk to her husband and came out and said she would sell her for $60. Now, can you imagine if this was you in my position? We are crazy pony people. Now, try not to smile too hard, and do not freak out, and do not jump up and down in happiness. I handed over the money and walked all the way to the back of the yard and picked her up. Anyone who has met me knows I am short, lol. I am only 5'1", so trying to pick up Sundance and carry her over grass is very difficult and awkward to do. I made it to the sidewalk and asked my boyfriend if he could carry her home. Please, I begged him. What does he say? Here, you carry the bags, I will grab the horse. It was no trouble for him because he is over 6 feet tall. Off we went around the corner, and my loaded down with 5 or 6 bags, and him with a giant pony in his arms. You know I really love him, right? Yeah. We got to his house, and I called my stepdad and asked him to empty the trunk of the car and come pick me up. Why do I have to empty the trunk? My stepdad asked. I said I went to a garage sale and got ponies. Wow, you must have gotten a lot of them, he said. Nope, just one, I replied. It was so funny, I was cracking up on the phone. My stepdad pulled up and we stuffed her into the trunk of the car, and her 4 feet were sticking out the back because she was just too big. I was so nervous during the 5-minute drive home. I was so afraid she would fall out or get more damaged. Cleaning this pony was something else. I got a towel and started killing all ants, spiders, and other bugs on her. I even sprayed her with Raid to kill any other bugs on her, not a direct spray, but a mist over her. I then got a pet brush and started scraping her fur to loosen up the material and to pull off the dried bird poop that was stuck to her. I used an old hairbrush to brush her hair. The hair was just breaking into huge clumps. It was so dry from the sun that it turned white in some places, but stayed a nice pink on the underside. She has lost her flowers that were on her bridle, and all I have left is the rusty wires that once held them. One side of her symbol and body is caved in, and I have not tried to pop it back out. Her symbols are completely faded to white now, but the unique thing I like about them is that they are all embroidered with thread. If you look at the picture, you can see that the symbol is a complete different circle part that fits into the body somehow. I have been tempted to try and see into the body somehow, but never dared to do it. Her tail is also pretty cool because she is double-tailed, I like to call it. The top part is in the pony like a plug, while the second part is held on by a strap. She now stands in the pony room, proudly on display for all to see. She is waiting for the day I find her baby to stand next to her.
Winking out. Winking out is the term used for when a unicorn teleports or turns invisible. The phrase was first used in the Return of Tambalon arc. In real life, the term winking out means to come to an end, according to Merriam-Webster. That definition is fitting, seeing as how when the unicorns in the story wink out, they get teleported to the bad guy's dungeon. International Nirvana ponies. Nirvana, in the My Little Pony collecting sphere, is a term used to describe rare ponies that were produced overseas. A step above most European exclusives in rarity, a lot of Nirvana ponies are highly sought after by collectors. A portion of Nirvanas, like the ones from South Africa, Peru, or Italy, for example, have different colorings from the American ones, like this yellow minty. Others are completely new, like the birth flower ponies that were sold in Australia, There are also some Brazilian ponies that don't even have a symbol on their flank. Brazil also had these little felt ponies called os fofinhos. Spain had these ponies with original molds called piggy ponies. The pose is based on the Spanish trot, a trained movement performed by a horse wherein they put their forward leg diagonally up like this. Some piggies were based on existing ponies, while some were original creations. Also, just clarifying, piggies might not be considered Nirvana ponies, since they're not under that section of the wiki. Just putting that out there before anybody comes around in the comments and blah blah blah. And of course, who could forget about the Venezuelan squeaky butt ponies from 1985? Blank prototypes. Over the years, a few G1 prototypes have leaked. Most interestingly, these blank ones with no hair. I assume these were made to test out the molds. Early prototypes of the original 6 ponies show different symbols, which look like the spots on the Appaloosa breed of horse. Other prototypes even have different colors or poses compared to their final designs. These slightly different prototypes are mostly seen in catalogs or other promotional material. Fairy tales. Fairy tales, as in tales like on an animal, was a sister line to My Little Pony that was in stores from 1986 to 1987. Instead of colorful ponies with symbols, brushable hair, and tails, they were colorful birds with symbols, brushable hair, and tails. Though fairy tales never got a cartoon, just like MLP, they had a few gimmicks, like fairy tales with fuzzy tummies, ones with tropical colors, babies, and ones with paper fans for tails. The characters did appear in the My Little Pony and Friends UK comic book. Bootlegs/fakies. My Little Pony bootlegs are really something that deserve their own video, from Remco's Pretty Pets, to Princess Rinse and Spit, to the company Simba, which would literally just use the exact molds as the Hasbro ponies. G1 or G3 style fakies are actually the most common from what I've seen in the wild. I've seen only a few G4 bootlegs, whereas G1 fakies I've seen as prizes in arcades, at Dollar Tree, Ocean State Job Lot, Rennie's. I remember even seeing a set at a Burlington once. Alternate theme songs. So this refers to multiple things. The My Little Pony G1 melody has a few variations on the lyrics. The one we associate with G1 only plays at the beginning of Rescue at Midnight Castle. Escape from Katrina and the '86 movie have their own variations, and there's even another one used for the MLP sections of My Little Pony and Friends. The entire block had its own theme song, with a sequence that would splice together clips from My Little Pony and whatever other show it was airing with, and also appeared to have some original animation at the end. There was also a different theme song used in the commercials. Earlier ones used the classic theme, while others had this one that encouraged playing with the ponies like a baby doll.
I'm a My Little Pony mommy. Hola, más linda mommy. Chiconean baby pony.
7 Songs and a Story. 7 Songs and a Story is a My Little Pony record produced by Bullseye Music and released by Hasbro in 1985. It was available through mail order in the UK, and featured songs based on Applejack, Bowtie, Lickety Split, Posy, Cherry's Jubilee, and Tootsie. You can listen to the whole thing on YouTube, as well as find a few PMVs with Applejack's song. Photo needed placeholder.jpg. This refers to a photo used on My Little Wiki. It's used as a placeholder when a picture isn't available for a pony, other piece of merchandise, or whatever. Most articles have a picture showing the pony it's referring to, but if there isn't one to be found, you get stuck with this black and white picture of G4 Applejack. My Little Wiki has a page called Wanted, where they list things that need to be filled out, so if you can, I really recommend you help them out. They've been a great resource for so many of my videos, and I can't thank them enough. Also, they're one of the only wikis that isn't stuck with the awful fandom wiki layout, which is impossible to navigate, or at least impossible to navigate without having like a headache. Sweet Steps Ballerina Ponies. The Sweet Steps Ballerina Ponies were released in year 9. Unlike most ponies, they have one point of articulation in their limbs. These are the only ponies from G1 that have this. This was used to market them, as you can move the pony's limbs and imagine that they're dancing. There was also a set of baby ballerina ponies that came out the following year, which is just the same idea but with baby pony molds. Since all of these ballerina ponies wear these little suits, the symbol is on the top of their flank and not on the side. First Marvel movie. My Little Pony the movie is actually one of, if not the first movie that Marvel the company ever produced. During the 80s, Marvel Productions worked with Hasbro and another company, Sunbow Entertainment, to bring properties like G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Gem and the Holograms to TVs, and sometimes the big screen. The first theatrical production that's listed under Marvel Productions is 1986's My Little Pony the movie. And yes, I checked, this is the Marvel. And I also just want to clear it up, this isn't the first piece of non-comic media they've ever produced, or the first movie based on their comics, or anything like that. It's just the first movie that a production company related to Marvel, the comics company, produced. This Marvel Productions isn't the Marvel that brought us the MCU though. Due to a bunch of complicated corporate nonsense, the Marvel Studios that exists now is an entirely separate company from this, but also isn't, because it used to be owned by Fox, and then Fox got bought by Disney, so now Disney owns most of its stuff, even though by the time the 80s Marvel production stuff, which in 1993 had been renamed New World Pictures, got absorbed into Disney, Disney owned the actual Marvel. And then there's Saban Entertainment, they've got something to do with it probably. Anyway, Hasbro bought the rights to all of Marvel and Sunbow productions based on their properties. So there's nothing to worry about, hopefully. 80s plush ponies. Official plush ponies began to be sold in 1985, and went on for a few years. The plush line included Earth ponies, unicorns, Pegasi, baby ponies, and a few rainbow ponies. A while later, they put out these plushies that doubled as PJ cases. Something I've never heard of, but I guess you just put your PJs in these. Skydancer roller skates. There were a few ponies that came with roller skates, but this entry is referring to this set of roller skates from 1986. Of course, they wouldn't fit an adult, but these would be pretty cool to own as a collector's item. Reused names. So, as we all know, pony names can reappear across generations, but G1 went on for so long that a lot of pony names got reused only years later. These are different from being a variant of another pony, since they have entirely separate colors and symbols. Examples include Bright Eyes, the twinkle-eyed pony versus Bright Eyes from My Little Pony Tales, Cha-Cha being both a sweetheart sister pony and a llama, Pink Dreams being a flutter pony and a soft sleepy newborn. There are a lot more I haven't mentioned, so go to the wiki if you want a proper catalog of all these. Pony hair properties. In The Glass Princess, it's revealed that the pony's hair has magical properties and can grow back instantly. In a few of the backcard stories, we see how pony's hair has something special about it, like the curly hair rainbow ponies. Could the hair be the true source of the pony's magic, since it's so close to the unicorn's horn? Could the magic just come in the pony's head and be projected by whatever's on top? So, explaining why the unicorns can do magic the best and have big horns. McDonald's tie-in. In Generation 2 up until now, fast food MLP tie-ins have been actual ponies. Not on the same level of quality as the actual retail toys, but still, a pony usually with a comb. In 1984, McDonald's ran a promotion with My Little Pony bookmarks in Happy Meals. These ran opposite to a set of Transformers toys that didn't transform, so either way, if you're a fan of either going to McDonald's, you probably should have lowered your expectations. Sweetheart Sister Ponies. In year 7, Hasbro began releasing these skinnier, teenage-looking ponies under the name Sweetheart Sister Ponies. This type of pony continued into year 10, with a few different names. Prom Queen Sweetheart Sister Ponies, Glittery Sweetheart Sister Ponies, Pretty Ponies, Sweet Kisses Ponies, Sundazzle Ponies, all had familiar, if not the same molds. Horseshoe Points. Horseshoe Points are a proof of purchase found on the backs of My Little Pony products in G1. You could send these in for exclusive mail-order offers, like the ones I mentioned on the last level. Aside from the back of pony packaging, you could also redeem your ticket stub from the My Little Pony movie, which was worth 5 horseshoe points. In Greece, they had pony coins, which had the same purpose and a higher exchange rate from horseshoe points to pony coins. Horseshoe points also appeared in Generation 2 and 3, with Generation 3's proofs of purchase called pony points. Firefly's Adventure. Firefly's Adventure was a Year 9 VHS release of Rescue at Midnight Castle that was bundled with Firefly. The back card for the bundle spells Tirak's name as Tiarak, like tear or tear. This magazine ad also shows what appear to be screenshots from Escape from Katrina, but redrawn for some reason. Dance and Prance Ponies. Dance and Prance Ponies were from Year 7. The gimmick with them was that you'd turn this little wind-up mechanism in the front, and their tail would spin around, making it look like they were dancing. Based on magazine scans, they originally had different poses for each pony, but the final products all shared the same pose. It's theorized that the reason they're all molded the same is to make sure the spinning tail mechanism works consistently. Activity Club Baby Pony. The My Little Pony Activity Club was a fan club in the UK that people could subscribe to for newsletters and small gifts, like membership badges, calendars, drawstring bags, colored pencils, etc. In later years, exclusive baby ponies were shipped out to club members. The 1989 Activity Club Baby lacked a name or symbol, and members were encouraged to name it themselves. There were also 2 other baby ponies distributed through the Activity Club, with actual symbols and proper names. G4 Manga Crossover. In Volume 3 of the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic manga, Twilight Sparkle accidentally teleports herself to the G1 universe, replacing her with G1 Twilight. While she's there, She knocks a pony in the head and prevents Megan from ever getting to Ponyland, but manages to save the day and defeat T-Rac, whose name is spelled like the G4 character. Porcina and Mighty Magiswords. Princess Porcina is the main antagonist of the Glass Princess arc, an anthropomorphic pig with a crown. In the 2015 Cartoon Network show Mighty Magiswords, there's a character named Queen Porcina, who looks incredibly similar. This was thought to be a reference or a cameo originally, but Kyle A. Carosa, the creator of Mighty Magiswords, said that it was a coincidence. Porcina literally means pork or swine in Latin or Spanish, so the name is easy to brush aside, but the designs do really look similar. Oh my gosh, you made it halfway through the video! Well, halfway through the script. Thank you for coming this far, and don't forget to add me on all my stuff, and subscribe, and like, and all that good stuff. Next few levels are gonna get a little more obscure, but there's nothing too crazy. I tried to steer away from the evil, mentions.
They gonna.
Level 4. Dressed Like a Dream subtitles. If you look up the song Dressed Like a Dream from the Escape from Katrina special and turn on the subtitles, you'll be greeted with some questionable lyrics. And this is beyond the average YouTube subtitles mishearing things. The problem is when you look up the video now, the uploader turned off the subtitles. As I was writing this, I was gonna give a transcript, but I can't. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. If anyone else knows what I'm talking about, you can give some sort of transcript in the comments, but what I can remember, there was the phrase pressed diamond tree, which is actually pretty standard, but then there was transvestite for some reason, and a lot more stuff like that. Animation errors. There are a ton of animation errors in G1. On the wiki, there's an entire catalog of them for each story. If you're familiar with 80s cartoons, you know the typical stuff. Characters' voices coming out of the wrong mouth, drawn with different colors, etc. One from Rescue at Midnight Castle gives the Moochick character human ears. Apparently the elf ears on his hat were just a fake. HQG1C. HQG1C is a fan-made project by the MLP collector community to make brand new custom-style ponies. The first pony made for the project was Genie, who symbolized the wishes do come true theme of the project, of making people's dream ponies. Some of my favorites are Batty Boo, Little Pumpkin, Star Spangled, and the Artistry Girls. The customs are made using eco-friendly plastic, with the mane, tail, and symbols all being done by hand. They can be found on sites like Etsy and theponybusiness.com if anyone's interested. My Little Pony Fan Club. In year 2, Hasbro started the My Little Pony Fan Club in the US. This is similar to the UK's Activity Club. Upon joining, you'd be sent a blue ribbon award and membership card, an official My Little Pony sew-on emblem, a My Little Pony paper doll, a Powder Puff scented necklace, and a full-color poster. Joining the fan club would also come with a subscription to the My Little Pony Hoofbeat newsletter, which doesn't seem to be all that well documented. Mail-in forms for the fan club say the newsletter is filled with stories, games, pictures, and loads of activities. In year 5, the club was discontinued and replaced with a new one, though that seems to not exist or not even be that well documented either. Regrind. Regrind is a condition that happens over time, where pink or sometimes yellow spots appear on a pony. There's no definitive cause for this, but people have speculated that A, it's because of some ponies being made with unused recycled plastic from the factory, B, a manufacturing error with the dyed plastic that's used to make the ponies' bodies, where bits of raw dye somehow leach outward, creating the color splotches. The second cause seems more likely, because only certain ponies seem to be infected with regrind. Mostly pink, orange, or purple ones. Dolly Mix. Dolly Mix is a candy from the UK that has tiny multicolored shapes with slight flavorings. In 2009 and 2010, bags of the candy would come with a random pony. The 2010 bags were based on G1 ponies like Applejack, Gusty, and Firefly, but had molds that were based on G3, and had G3 styled artwork on the packaging. It's kind of interesting because a few of these characters like Applejack would be remade for G3, but with different colors and symbols. Having the original designs in the G3 style, even if it's just a little tiny figure, is pretty cool. Sippin' Soda Ponies. The Sippin' Soda Ponies were released in year 10. The gimmick with these is that they would be able to quote-unquote drink from this plastic ice cream soda that they came with. Ponyland Press says that each Sippin' Soda Pony came with a large, scented plastic ice cream soda with a hard, clear plastic straw made to fit into a hole in the pony's mouth. When the pony is squeezed, a row of colored balls travels up and down inside the straw, creating the illusion that the pony is drinking the ice cream. As well as the ice cream, the pony would be scented too. It's an interesting gimmick, although with some imagination, the straw and the ice cream soda looks like something else.
This is definitely not Crack Pipe Pony.
First Tooth Baby Ponies. The First Tooth Baby Ponies are one of the weirdest gimmicks from G1. In year 5, Hasbro made these ponies with one big snaggle tooth hanging out of their mouths. They even make appearances in the cartoon, where they serve the same narrative function as the Cutie Mark Crusaders from Generation 4, being the younger counterparts to the older ponies, who always seem to get themselves into some sort of trouble. Newborn Twins. Newborn twin ponies appeared in a lot of the same episodes as the First Tooth Baby Ponies in the cartoon, and these were even smaller than the regular baby ponies. These would obviously come packaged together because of the twin name, but unlike a lot of other releases, they'd come in a box with a ton of accessories. There were also the teeny tiny baby ponies from year 9, with teeny tiny twin ponies in year 10. Believe it or not, these are not the same molds. The teeny tiny ponies have smaller muzzles than the newborn twins. France exists in Ponyland. In the epic saga of The Prince and the Ponies get taken to a place in Ponyland that is very clearly 18th or 19th century France. But it's in Ponyland. So does that mean they actually just went to France, and in this world, France hasn't progressed in terms of culture or technology past the 1800s? Or maybe Ponyland is actually the distant past, and Megan is traveling back in time every time she goes to Ponyland. We do see a lot of other medieval castles and the like, but there are things that even disprove that, like Nightshade being an 80s style pop star. Merry-Go-Round Game. The My Little Pony Merry-Go-Round game was put out by Milton Bradley, at the time a subsidiary of Hasbro, and they still are. The goal of the game is to stamp this card with all 4 pony stamps twice. Players have 4 cards, 1 for each pony, and at the start of every turn, each player places one of the cards face down, the merry-go-round gets spun. If the color on the merry-go-round matches the color on a player's face-down card, the player gets to use the stamp to fill out their score sheet. Happy Tails Ponies. The Happy Tails Ponies were from year 6. By squeezing their body, the ponies were able to twirl their tails around, sort of a combination of the Dance and Prance ponies and the Venezuelan Squeaky ponies. OG6 Narcolepsy. This refers to how the first 6 ponies, called the Collector's Series, would always fall over. This was apparently because of their heads being too heavy. To fix this, metal weights would be added to the opposite area of the pony's body to balance it out. My Little Pony The Retro Show. My Little Pony The Retro Show was a series of shorts on the official My Little Pony YouTube channel. Out of the 5 videos in the series, 3 of them are hidden on the channel. One of these is a G4 parody of the Beverly Hills 90210 intro. Nothing too special. The other one shows a clip from the end of Flutter Valley with jokey captions being shown on screen.
The music festival was the first of its kind and went on to inspire others, such as Burning Man, Woodstock Coachella, Lollapalooza, and Fire Festival. Spike and Megan briefly dated it during season 1. Sprinklebottom's clown career was sadly cut short after an unfortunate knife-throwing accident. The season abruptly ended when Megan's head was bit off by an alligator thingy.
It's not laugh out loud funny, but it's acceptable for a YouTube thing. It's on the same level as like Nostalgia Critic or CinemaSins, mixed with those old Blam segments from Disney Channel, if anyone remembers those. And apparently there was, or people tried to cause, controversy over this video, saying how it was mocking the old generation and pandering to young fans. Well, nobody remembers this, so I guess the quote-unquote pandering wasn't all that profitable for Hasbro. Real color prototypes. When asked to retool the design for My Pretty Pony, designer Bonnie Zackerly made prototypes with realistic colors, like brown, gray, and beige. Although these were what Zackerly preferred as a longtime lover of horses, the more colorful ponies that people suggested tested better with the target demographic. Nightmare Fuel episodes.
You'd figure a show about cute ponies would be nice, cute, innocent, delicious, scrumptious, right? Well, you're dead bloody wrong, mate. The villains in this show have several unpleasant aspects in store for both the viewers, the token humans, and the ponies. Look here, Tirak and Katrina are absolutely demented, nightmare fuel, and are part of the show as the pilot or independent episodes within the series. Princess Porcina turning Ponyland and its inhabitants into glass with her magic cloak. She's not even aware of what she's done at first, saying that when she looked through the mirror, the ponies didn't seem real. Somnambula is a witch who lets every pony live their dream with everything they ever wanted, even as she saps their energy, accelerating their aging so fast that in the matter of hours they're really long in the tooth. It's a near villain victory too. All the adults would have died had not the bird taken a chance to flee and then break the hypnosis, and had not Slugger seen his beloved in this state and gotten his heroic second wind. The unicorn she chained to her crystal. The close-up of them shows they are aware. They are sentient, they are awake, with Button staring right at Slugger, clearly not happy about her condition. Somnambula had chained them up like that, sucking the life and magic out of them for the entire day, intending to keep them that way forever. The quest of Princess Ponies has Lavin, a lava demon who turns himself into a crystal being with the Princess Ponies' wands and unbalances the magic of Ponyland. When he's defeated, he explodes. The truly terrifying thing here is that Lavin says he hadn't gained full control over his power yet when he was destroyed. Just what Lavin had been capable of if he had time to do that, we have no bloody idea. We haven't seen him since. He went off to Colombia and never came back. Lavin abusing his minions is also rather frightening, especially when he throws sludge across the room into a wall and the impact is far from pleasant, or sludges scream when Lavin blasts him in the face. The jeweled desert turns anything it touches to crystal, while Lavin's meddling sends it out of control, including living things. One of the poor bush woolies finds this out the hard way, and then Wind Whistler is pinned under a crystallized branch while one of her friends desperately tries to save her, both acknowledging there's no way help will come in time to prevent the desert from getting her.
6-week production. My Little Pony the movie only took 6 weeks to animate, resulting in animation not on par with other animated theatrical films at the time, or even the other specials. The movie was a historic bomb and was panned by critics. Maybe if Hasbro had given Toei more time, the movie's animation would have been a saving grace for its reception. Charmkins. Charmkins was a Hasbro line from the early 80s. The figures could be played with and worn as jewelry. At the time, Hasbro didn't have any popular toys in the girls aisle, and they hoped Charmkins would fill that role. Despite the interesting gimmick, Charmkins lost out to My Little Pony in terms of popularity. One of the Charmkin animals, called My Pixie Pony, looks suspiciously similar to a pony of the My Little variety. The mold for My Pixie Pony wouldn't go to waste. Hasbro used it a few other times for official My Little Pony products. The My Little Pony fan club necklace, McDonald's bookmarks, and charms that would come bundled with select ponies in 1989. Sets like the Family Ponies and Magic Message Ponies, you'd have to rub on their symbol to reveal a special message, came with the charms. Even one of the mail-order ponies was packaged with one. In Greece, more ponies with this unicorn mold were released under the Charmkins name, this time being molded with colorful plastic with no paint. Some translucent, others not. Keeper's plagiarism. Keepers was a line by Tonka that ran from 1985 to 1992. The whole gimmick came in these keys that you would use to open up the characters and find little babies or other things inside. In 1990, Hasbro made the Secret Surprise Ponies, who had a similar gimmick. Whether this was an answer to Tonka's line or not, it doesn't matter anymore. In 1991, Tonka was bought by Hasbro, absorbing all their competing IPs, including Keepers, which was in competition with My Little Pony, and the GoBots, which was in competition with the Transformers. So we could potentially see a crossover for both of those. Just saying, Hasbro, IDW. My Little Kitty, Puppy, Bunny. Hasbro tried to branch out with other My Little lines in 1989 that focused on different animals. There were 3 of these: My Little Kitty, My Little Bunny, and My Little Puppy. All animals that could be deemed cute enough by the target audience to buy as a toy. The kitties came in tabby... Oh my god, my cat's on my desk. Are you done? The kitties came in tabby, Siamese, Angora, Calico, and Persian, with a few accessories bundled with each figure. The dogs came in Spaniel, Poodle, Labrador, and Dalmatian and were pretty much the same idea as the cats. Rabbits came in Angora, Floppy, Cottontail, and Hopper, vaguely based on real breeds of bunny. For all three of these, adults would come bundled in with a few babies most of the time. Sets would also include accessories, like the ones that came with ponies. Every puppy/kitty/bunny card had a My Little Pony here at the bottom to give some brand recognition. None of these had individual back cards the way ponies did. Every one of these had the same story, telling how the other animals came down from the almighty rainbow to play with the ponies. Copyright sold for $1. When Bonnie Zackerly finalized the idea of what would become My Little Pony, Hasbro had to give her some sort of money for the copyright, separate from her salary at the company. I don't know anything about legal stuff for copyright, so don't take my word for that. As a result, Hasbro paid Zackerly $1 USD for the rights to My Little Pony. At the time, nobody knew what it was going to become, so there wasn't really any incentive to strike up a deal or negotiate for royalties or anything like that. By the time My Little Pony took off, Bonnie Zackerly was working at Parker Brothers, designing what was to be their biggest new line, Nerfles. My Pretty Mermaids. My Pretty Mermaids was yet another spin-off of My Little Pony that featured a different type of creature. These came out alongside year 10 of MLP. The mermaids were these little dolls with brushable hair and mermaid tails. Like every other My Little Pony spin-off from this time, they had gimmicks like rainbow hair, princess mermaids, etc. There were also variants of the main four mermaids with a darker skin tone. Pictures of these are uncommon but can be found with a little bit of searching. In terms of the lore, the mermaids aren't connected to the ponies, but their branding shows that they're part of the same family. Early magazines showed them bundled with My Little Pony combs, and commercials featured the familiar My Little Pony tune. Year 10 also had baby mermaid ponies, so I guess Hasbro was just on a mermaid binge that year for some reason. I wonder if there might have been anything to happen in the early 90s, or even just before, that would ignite the public interest in mermaids, like make people want to buy mermaid toys. Maybe some super popular movie that may or may not have started some sort of Disney renaissance of some kind perhaps. I don't know, you guys. Betty by Eye Ponies. Betty by Eye Ponies came out in year 3 and 4. The gimmick with these is that they'd close their eyes when laid on their side, though the mechanism used for this creates an uncanny look in the ponies' faces. The next year, Hasbro came out with the soft, sleepy newborn ponies, who have a similar mechanism in their eyes, but don't look as creepy, probably because they're on a larger scale. Pony families. Although baby ponies have been a thing since very early in My Little Pony's history, pony families featuring a mother, father, and baby pony came out in year 8. There are 3 main sets released in the US, the Apple Delight, Sweet Celebrations, and Bright Bouquet families. There are a few others that are exclusive to overseas, and some of the US family sets have more or less ponies in different areas. For example, the US Apple Delight family has a mother, father, and daughter, while the UK release has a mother, father, daughter, and son. Petite Ponies. Petite ponies were released in years 8 and 9 and were these tiny ponies that came in packs. Petites didn't have any names, so they're mostly identified by their color and symbol. Ponies were designed in such a way that they wouldn't fall over, with stands molded to their hooves. Playsets in their scale were released, like a cottage and palace. They even had a few gimmicks, like pearlized plastic, translucent plastic, and brushable tails. Lightsaber sound effect. During the scene where Mimic gets her horseshoes back in the Golden Horseshoes, the lightsaber drawing sound effect from Star Wars plays. There's no behind-the-scenes reason for this. Maybe they just bought the sound off of Lucasfilm, or it was free to use and they needed a generic magic flash sound. The sound effect can also be heard during scene transitions in Brave Star, so maybe it was just a sound effect that anyone could pull and use. Porcelain Pony Figures. A set of porcelain pony figures were manufactured by the company Extra Special, and were released sometime during Generation 1. The collection includes single ponies, as well as a few scenes. The European versions of these figures are less detailed but with more defined color. They also have this little rainbow symbol on the bottom. Whenever I go to any kind of thrift store, I always make sure to look in the little knick-knack section to see if they have these. They never do. White Windy. Windy is a unicorn rainbow pony with an off-white purple color. It's rumored that a white version of her exists, but it's most likely that the color on this particular figure faded to look white after a long time. It could also be the lighting making it look this way. The White Windy has a hoof stamp that indicates it being from Hong Kong, so there is a possibility it is the real deal. Let me know what you think in the comments. Man-made SMOOZE. In an article from overthinkingit.com, Author Peter Fensel mentions several real-world hypothetical scenarios that are similar to the SMOOZE from the My Little Pony movie. In the movie, the SMOOZE is a purple blob that consumes all of Ponyland, similar to ideas like the Grey Goo, the Von Neumann machine, and the stable Strangelet. Grey Goo is a hypothetical nanotechnology that can self-replicate using common materials like water or carbon. By being able to absorb everything around it and reproducing, this nanotechnology is able to swallow everything on Earth. A Von Neumann machine is the same thing, just not related to nanotechnology. More of a general concept of a machine that replicates using common materials. A stable Strangelet is the most interesting. This hypothetical scenario involves a stable form of what's called strange matter, which has the potential to turn everything around it into strange matter. It's only a small section of the article that mentions this, but I'm still going to link to it in the description because it's a fun read and he explains it way better than I do. Transformers and G.I. Joe cameo. When punching up the script, writer Buzz Dixon pitched a scene where the ponies went and asked characters from other Hasbro shows for help.
Funny story about an early draft of the My Little Pony movie. I was asked to punch up the original treatment. Basically, this consisted of indicating where various music scenes could go, adding more magic and GUIs to otherwise pedestrian talking head scenes, etc. At one point, one of the little ponies had to go looking for something or someone, I forget. I suggested she encounter some of the Transformers and Joes in her search. Specifically, a scene where she flies up to Shipwreck who is drinking some amber fluid from a bottle. Shipwreck would just stare at her in bug-eyed disbelief and she'd fly on. Then Shipwreck would smash the bottle, take his cap off his head, put his left hand over his heart and raise his right hand in an oath, muttering frantically under his breath. Hasbro said, "Very funny. No."
One of the scenes had the ponies coming across Shipwreck from G.I. Joe. As funny as it was to the writers, Hasbro rejected the idea for this scene. There was also a planned cameo by Optimus Prime from the Transformers. That idea was rejected too. But Optimus Prime's voice actor would later guest star in the My Little Pony and Friends TV series as Captain Crabnasty. Butch Hartman's first job. My Little Pony and Friends featured some notable talent, from Nancy Cartwright, who I mentioned previously, to Gary Conway, creator of The Punisher, to writers like Michael Reeves, who later worked on Batman the Animated Series, and Linda Wolverton, who would later write the screenplays for Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King. Hobby Kids Adventures creator Butch Hartman also worked on the show. After a screening of his senior thesis film, producers at Marvel Productions approached Butch and offered him a job. He'd be hired as a character designer on My Little Pony, where he'd do turnarounds for, quote, a little wizard guy. It's very unlikely that this could be the Moochick. Maybe it's this guy from Would-Be Dragon Slayer, or most likely of all, the character went through multiple designs and Butch's version never made it into the show. Anyways, he was fired after being sent to the storyboard department to help out, and not being able to get good drawings done in time. Based on his account, Hasbro mandated that all the ponies should be in the shot when possible. So for most of the storyboard panels, he was drawing upwards of 5 characters in a style he wasn't familiar with. With the amount of ponies he had to draw, the sloppy drawings he turned in at the end of those 3 weeks led him to get fired from Marvel Productions. Anyways, to paraphrase Butch himself, if you're working in the animation industry, make sure you're good at more than one thing. Either that, or if you're a production manager or something like that, don't send your character designer to the storyboard department without checking if he's Butch Hartman or not. Unreleased Baby Truly. The Betty by Eye Pony set was originally going to include a version of Baby Truly, as shown in this magazine scan. She was never released, and only exists as a prototype. Similarly, a first tooth version of Baby Sundance appears in one of the commercials. Yet again, she was never released in that form. She only exists as a prototype. My Little Pony Clay Factory. The My Little Pony Clay Factory was a kit made by Rose Art, yes, that Rose Art, in 1984, that allowed you to make your own pony figures using air-dry clay. The set came with some paints and stickers for the pony's eyes and symbols. Cabbage Patch Kid ponies. In 1989, Hasbro bought Coleco, the manufacturer of the Cabbage Patch Kids. In the early 90s, they expanded the Cabbage Patch line with these crimp and curl ponies that had stylable hair and tails, and were big enough for the Cabbage Patch Kids to ride. In 1993, crimp and curl ponies were given their own separate line from the Cabbage Patch Kids branding, called Magic Meadow ponies. In the beginning, 6 of them were released, first as Earth ponies, then with some being unicorns or Pegasi. All of them have basic names like Beauty, Princess, and Sundance, like the My Little Pony pony. The line continued for a bit with some gimmicks like sparkly ponies and the like, before it fizzled out with the secret surprise twin ponies around the mid-90s. Rika and Draggle's father, who had relations with Hydia the Witch and bore her 2 children. Was it Tirak? Maybe some other magic user like Beezin, or again the wizard from Would Be Dragon Slayer, who looks like Jasper from The Simpsons? Maybe it was a regular person. That question is never brought up or answered in either the movie, show, or My Little Pony Generations, which features Hydia's granddaughters. Brush and Grow Ponies. In year 6, Hasbro put out the Brush and Grow Ponies. The gimmick with these is that you would be able to pull their tail out while you brushed it, giving the illusion that the pony's tail would grow. You could retract the tail by turning the pony's head to the side. A year later, there were the Princess Brush and Grow Ponies, which were the same idea, just mixed with the idea of the Princess Ponies from year 5. Little Pretty. During the 80s, a few other companies tried to compete for My Little Pony's throne in the girls' aisle, including the aforementioned Keepers, Kenner's Philly Fashion Stars, and Mattel's Little Pretty. This was a line of My Little Pony-like kitties and puppies that ran from 1990 to 1991. And when I say My Little Pony-like, I mean it. They came with symbols and all. They had their own proof of purchase called paw points. They had baby kitties and puppies. They had gimmicks like hair that would grow and scented plastic. There were even plans to expand the line into fillies, as well as plushies and Christmas-themed pets. But all of those never saw the light of day. One more thing to note about Little Pretty is some of the names, like Peekaboo, Flutterina, Perfuma, Frosta, Catra. There's even one named Bo. Remind you of anything else? Any other Mattel thing, perhaps?
Catra and Frosta dolls each sold separately. Shira doll also sold separately. New from Mattel.
Yeah, you know what I mean. They're all named after Brave Star characters.
My schoolwork will stomp you flat, Brave Star!
Sweet Ice Delight Cottage. There are 2 genders. You're either Snoopy Snowcone Maker or SpongeBob Snowcone Maker. But what if I told you there was almost an official My Little Pony Snowcone Maker that doubled as a playset? The My Little Pony Sweet Ice Delight Cottage was just that. The cottage came with a small bottle for the snowcone flavoring shaped like a pony, with a cap that made it look like she was wearing a Devo hat. There were also a few accessories that came bundled with the cottage for you to use with your other ponies. I'm pretty sure most people know how these work. You put the ice in the top of the windmill, turn the crank, then it shaves it and deposits it into this cute little cup that sits on the balcony. I'd also assume the windmill turns when you turn the crank, but we've never seen a video of this, so it's hard to say for sure. Mix the Kool-Aid that came with the set, pour it on the ice, eat it with this fancy spoon, and then play with your pony if you want. It's unclear why this never got released. Maybe it was too ambitious or expensive to manufacture, or because of safety concerns with the kids putting their hands into the windmill and cutting themselves. A version of the classic Snoopy Snowcone Maker got recalled in 2013 because of a part that could fall out and, if it got into a snow cone, could hurt somebody's mouth. That might have been a concern also. That's unrelated to the My Little Pony thing, but it might have been a concern also. Fans of both My Little Pony and novelty snowcone makers finally got their dream around 2005 in My Little Pony Generation 3, when we got the snowcone maker featuring a molded, foreshortened Pinkie Pie. Hasbro actually used this mold for the mountain at least twice, once for their redesigned Snoopy Snowcone Maker from 2004, and again for the My Little Pony one. Wow, so many connections today. 3 hours of pure pony pleasure. 3 hours of pure pony pleasure is a slogan from a My Little Pony compilation tape from UK distributor Tempo Video. They had the series called The Biggest X Video Ever. These were of course based on their length, with slogans like 3 hours of mega intergalactic fun, 3 hours of fun with everyone's favorite bear. I guess alliteration was only something they went for with My Little Pony. Either way, the phrase placed out of context makes you think of something the opposite of kid-friendly. MLP killed Gem. Jem and the Holograms is another 80s toy franchise by Hasbro, in the vein of My Little Pony and Transformers. In the mid to late 80s, there was consideration for a theatrical Jem movie, similar to the My Little Pony and Transformers movies, but because of those other two not doing so well, the Jem movie was scrapped. So My Little Pony is technically partially to blame for the downfall of Jem, along with the Transformers. Real horses. Anatomically correct, or at least relatively anatomically correct horses appear in the Bright Lights story. Nightshade has these backup singers called the Shadowettes who look completely different from any of the ponies. There's also his hometown of Greyvale. The horses there also look more true to life than any of the colorful pastel ponies we see in the rest of the show. We also see a few of Megan's horses in the human world, like TJ from Rescue at Midnight Castle. Pony makeup. Certain ponies, like this one, would come bundled in with little human-sized accessories like a thing of eyeshadow or a bottle of nail polish. But as for actual toy-sized makeup the ponies could wear, that 100% is a thing. That just can't be found on the wiki that easily. There was also bubble bath that could be used with the ponies that came with the waterfall playset in year 2. Based on real Japanese pony. Bonnie Zachary spent a part of her childhood living with her father, who was a veterinarian for the US Army stationed in Japan. That's where she developed her love for horses, specifically with meeting this one Korean pack pony. If it weren't for that guy, My Little Pony as we know it probably wouldn't exist. Drinkin' wet ponies. Like some of the later commercials would have you believe,
I'm a My Little Pony mommy.
These ponies were meant to be played with like a baby doll. It's already been mentioned in another layer that ponies go to the bathroom, but it's nice that Hasbro confirmed it to be canon again. Mystery Rainbow Earth Pony. There's an Earth Pony with rainbow hair and a rainbow symbol who appears in the Rescue at Midnight Castle special, but isn't given a name or any speaking lines. There's no merch of this character either, but there is one of the porcelain pony figures who looks suspiciously similar. There are a few ponies that resemble this one, like some of the twice as fancy rainbow or rainbow curl ponies, but those came way later and after this special was produced. Pony infrastructure. Why do the ponies in the show have a house with running water and electricity? It's been confirmed that the Moochick spawns it in with magic, but how is it sustained? Why do we almost never see anything like it in the rest of the show? Here's what an anonymous poster on 4chan's MLP board has to say.
In the episode, The Ghost of Paradise Estate Part 1, the baby and adult ponies, along with Megan, Danny, and Molly, are seen using paint rollers and paint cans. This can easily be written off as the Williams children bringing them from their home, seeing as they live on a farm and would be used to using tools such as these. However, later on in the episode, an electrical light switch can be seen being used. This would imply that the estate is connected to a main grid or powered locally from solar or water power. By extent, this would also imply that the ponies have some form of industrialization. The question is, how far along is their industrialization and where did it come from? It is easy to say that the Moochick provided the electricity from magic, but this also raises the question of how much he knows. Does he know how to wire a house, or did the magic do it for him? Furthermore, ponies throughout the series can be seen using tools that are clearly not meant to be used by them. Instead of holding objects with handles horizontally, such as paintbrushes, they must hold them vertically to be able to use them. So where do these unaccommodating tools come from? Where does their electricity come from? All other species that have hands are either unfamiliar to the ponies or are not advanced enough to create them. This leaves two vastly different outcomes. The first is other humans. Humans besides the Williams are not new. The witches from the Volcano of Gloom and Scorpan are humans. However, neither are shown to have used or produced the tools seen, nor create or state the knowledge of electricity. This means that, for the ponies to have electricity, humans in the past must have helped the ponies to some extent. But how and what their story is unknown. The second outcome is the bees. They are openly shown to have knowledge to make and operate simple machinery, such as a crane. This would also explain why the tools the ponies use are not designed for them. They know nothing different. Possibly long ago, before the bees were forced to leave Flutter Valley, the two had an uneasy alliance, where bits of information were traded, such as tools suited for hands. Perhaps the answer is that long ago, the ponies learned how to make and use tools and machinery from the bees. Many years later, possibly during the late 1700s, early 1800s, as electrical workings would have been much simpler, the ponies may have helped or befriended humans. In exchange, the humans gave the ponies information on how to produce and use electricity. As the ponies were used to objects made for hands, new designs were not needed, and the ponies learned quickly. If this is the case, then the ponies are the most technologically advanced species in Ponyland, possibly just behind regular humans, as humans in Ponyland seem to still be in a medieval stage. Long story short, ponies using human tools are cute, but weird.
Dream Beauties. Dream Beauties came out in year 8. These took the My Little Pony formula of colorful coats and symbols on the flank and applied it to real horses. The tagline for these was, "They're all grown up My Little Ponies." They had a few variants like the Showtime Beauties, High Flying Beauties, but didn't last for too long. These came out the same year as Kenner's Philly Fashion Stars, so maybe Hasbro was just trying to get a leg up on the competition? Cancelled Rainbow Pony Special. This was again mentioned in the first My Little Pony Iceberg, but deserves to be brought up here. Instead of Escape from Katrina being the second My Little Pony special, there was originally a special that featured the Rainbow Ponies. No plot details are known, but there are some VHS covers for Katrina that reveal some stuff. Spike would have been aged up and would have had wings. The Lost Media Wiki says that this character on the cover is Danny, Megan's brother, but he wouldn't make an appearance until the My Little Pony movie in 1986, so this could be an entirely different character. It's unclear why the special was never finished or released. Might have been complaints due to the dark tone of Rescue at Midnight Castle that made them change it to something slightly less dark. There are a few seconds of surviving footage online, but in all honesty, it's not a stretch to say that most of this thing is either thrown out or was never completed. Maybe in Hasbro or Marvel's archives there exists a version of the special, but again, it's highly unlikely. Since the scenes we see from it look like the intro to the first special, maybe the intro and only a few other scenes were completed, but with Lost Media, you never know. It's always an interesting topic, especially when it's not something that every single person on the planet has mentioned already. Fancy Swirl Ponies. In either 2009 or 2010, Hasbro revealed a then unseen piece of concept art showing this group of 4 ponies with outer space theming. They also had star headbands and these swirl designs on their coats. Fans have given them different names like the Fancy Swirl Ponies, Celestial Ponies, and Fairy Brights. Since obviously, no official name for these or any of the individual ponies in the set have been given. People have made customs of these though, trying to recreate the colors and designs of the original concept art that would have been represented as toys. And you know, custom makers have to be creative and come up with their own names for each pony. Apparently there's also a campaign to have the Basic Fun Company, the company who manufactures all the G1 throwback figures, to make official versions of these. There's a character called the Great Star Pegasus, who appears in one of the G1 comics. Could this character and the Cosmic Ponies be similar in terms of the lore? There's so little known about these guys. Hurry, removed song. A few of the songs from My Little Pony and Friends have been left out of home media releases, including the newer releases on streaming and DVD. Songs from the first 2 specials like A Little Piece of Rainbow go unused, as well as the song Hurry from The Glass Princess Part 4. These weren't cut out due to copyright or anything, just to make room for more commercials when they'd be re-aired. Particularly the specials, which were both split up into 2 parts and reran as season finales for the show. I wouldn't call these lost media since they can be found with a bit of searching, but it's weird that Hasbro didn't think to include them in the current My Little Pony Complete Original Series release. Level 6. Shady says shit. In Mishmash Melee, Gusty, in the body of Shady, says this.
Sorry, Fizz, you're on your own.
Which, if you squint your ears enough, can be heard as another word. Twinkle-eyed pony backstory. Ever wondered why the twinkle-eyed ponies have gems in their eyes? One of the My Little Pony comic books gives us their backstory. The twinkle-eyed ponies were once slaves who were forced to work in a mine by an evil jewel wizard. They were stuck in there so long that their eyes didn't work in daylight anymore. To free the ponies, Applejack rams into the wizard's throne, killing him in the process and causing jewels to fly everywhere. The jewels land in some of the eyes of the other ponies. With them, the ponies are able to see in daylight, but they'll always be a reminder of their cruel subjugation at the hands of the wizard in metal. Satanic imagery. From evil goats, to demons, to monsters, to black magic, and even light magic, and just magic in general, My Little Pony and Friends can be construed as containing satanic imagery and themes. Obviously, since it's a show with supernatural and magical stuff, creatures and all that, you can draw parallels to most religions. There's that whole Super Mario 64 thing where it's supposedly based on Masonic rituals, and I think if you look hard enough, you can find parallels to that stuff in MLP. I'm no theologist, so don't ask me about any of it. In Somnambula, one of the Big Brother ponies, Slugger, has a crush on Buttons, a regular pony. Based on the name Big Brother ponies, you'd assume that them and the little ponies would all be related. I guess not, since these two have a thing going on. Maybe Slugger is actually like a different Little Pony's big brother? Disney owns the SMOOZE. As we all know, Marvel Productions, which is now owned by Disney, not by them buying Marvel but by them buying Fox, was one of the companies responsible for My Little Pony, the movie. Hasbro owns the rights to all of Marvel Productions based on their IPs, but certain characters who could and should have appeared in later generations of My Little Pony seem to be changed or even absent. The SMOOZE does return, but with a completely different design and color. In the comic My Little Pony Generations, Hydia, Rika, and Draggle don't appear. Does Hasbro not own the rights to the non-pony characters from the movie? I remember hearing that one of the reasons a lot of G4 characters are based on G3 characters is because there was some sort of rights issue. For example, they weren't allowed to bring Firefly back and had to make her Rainbow Dash. That one might not be true, but if it is, who would own the rights to these characters? Does Disney own the witches from the Volcano of Gloom and the SMOOZE? I doubt that they own any of those G1 ponies. That tidbit is most likely fake. Same with this whole theory. Like, they probably made the SMOOZE green just so it would stand out when they put it in Canterlot Castle. And the witches in the comics are new characters because this takes place a long time after Generation 1, but still, this is Disney we're talking about. There's a chance they might own everything, or will own in the future any given brand or property. Alvin and the Chipmunks, look out. Ponyland isn't real. So, Megan, when she goes to Ponyland, is she in a coma? Is she hallucinating Ponyland, and her siblings just go along with it? Or the more wholesome idea, these are just stories that she tells Molly and Danny, where all three of them go on fun adventures. We see Megan and the others spend a lot of time at this ranch and all seem to like horses, so could that be the reason they show up in this imaginary place that she dreams up, hallucinates, etc.? Is Megan dead? Is this purgatory or heaven? Are the ponies real and Megan isn't? Is this what G5 ponies think the events of Equestria Girls were like? We see G1 on the TV screens in G5, remember? It could be some sort of historical fiction. Is Megan telling the stories to her kids, or is it some other person besides her siblings? Is Ponyland a simulation? Is it the past? Is it just a stunt by Banksy? Are they all in the Matrix? Chuck E. Cheese exclusive Baby Pony. In 1989, there was an exclusive baby pony who was only available as a prize at Chuck E. Cheese. It's also referred to as a mail order pony by some, so there's a possibility that it was available through there too. This pony is notable as one of, if not the only, to have a corporate logo for a symbol. Pony birth. Where do baby ponies come from? Like the twinkle-eyed ponies, the comics do have a backstory for them. In this story, Firefly makes a wish that she'd have someone special to look after. Suddenly, a baby version of her jumps out of a nearby mirror. Turns out, this is an enchanted mirror that spawns baby ponies. So in the canon of these comics, this is where baby ponies come from. In the toys though, we see mothers and fathers, meaning that these ponies reproduce like real horses. There's also the surprise twins pony. This pony came out in year 12, with a pretty unique feature. There's a little hatch that you pull out with this pink knob, which makes her give birth to these two newborn ponies. In her back card story, she mentions a daddy pony, confirming that in the canon of the toys at least, they don't reproduce asexually. Moondancer X Glory. One of the porcelain pony figures has this wedding scene featuring the ponies Moondancer and Glory. There's no confirmation that they gender swapped either of them, making any of them male, so, you know, love wins. Vitamine. Vitamine, from what I understand, is a French programming block that would air cartoons and have segments with the hosts in between. It aired on the channel TF1 and had a lineup of cartoons from different studios, like Deke, Hanna-Barbera, Ruby Spears, Filmation, and even dubs of Japanese shows like Gatchaman and Mickey Momo. The block aired only two of Marvel Productions shows, Gem and My Little Pony and Friends. Literally the only reason I brought this up is because of how confusing it was to see edited into Vitamine on the trivia section of the My Little Pony and Friends IMDb page, and having to look up articles all in French about what this thing even was, and then seeing Black Star, and having even more questions. Anyway, the block ran from 1983 to 1987, and aired from noon to around 5:30 at night. The Moochick has dementia. In case you haven't been clued in already, the Moochick is this old wizard character who helps Megan and the other ponies sometimes. He's really forgetful, goes on tangents, and doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. The theory goes that because of his old age, he suffers from some sort of mental deterioration. They never tell us how old he is in the specials, the movie, or the show, so there's like a 50-50 chance you could even consider this theory. Majesty Offspring. According to what we've seen of the My Little Pony and Friends show Bible, Majesty was supposed to make an appearance in Rescue at Midnight Castle, but never did. It's weird since she comes with Dream Castle, which is featured in the special, and also in the My Little Pony fact file, comics and such, Majesty is sort of a ruler to the other ponies, and is skilled with magic. Though she never appears in the show, we do have the princess ponies, who control all of the magic in Ponyland from their castle. Could these ponies be the offspring or heirs of Majesty? Or maybe they fill the role that she was supposed to play in the show. Pillow Talk. Pillow Talk is the name of a pony released in year 5 as part of the Slumber Party gift set. The term Pillow Talk can be used to just mean a close conversation between two lovers that happens in bed, though in modern context at least, it's usually a conversation that happens after intercourse. From what I found about the term, the more risque context might date back to before the pony was even released. There was a movie called Pillow Talk from 1959 that almost had its name changed for being too scandalous. Also, fun fact, Tony Randall, who voiced the Moochick in My Little Pony and Friends, plays a character in that movie. In 1985, most likely the year this pony was designed, the term was on a decline in usage, so maybe they just assumed that people wouldn't associate the pony's name with sex? SMOOZE is made of damned souls. What are all the faces on the SMOOZE? Are they all part of the same being, or is this thing an amalgamation of different souls, different consciousnesses, all bound together and forced to destroy everything in their path? It kinda makes me think of the River Styx from Disney's Hercules, with all the people in it. I would add in a little thing about how they all might be in pain too, but the SMOOZE managed to sing a whole song, so I think they're uncomfortable at most. Custom bait. Custom bait is a term used to describe damaged ponies that aren't restored by the current seller, whether because they're damaged beyond reasonable repair, or for whatever other reason. In the most extreme cases, these are essentially sold for scrap parts or bases to custom makers, though some, according to My Little Wiki, are easy fixes and can be restored. Danny X Surprise. This is a ship between the human character Danny and the pony Surprise. It's not hinted at by the show, oh god no, they're just shown to have a close friendship, especially in the episode The Great Rainbow Caper. But them just being friends doesn't mean that fans don't ship them. Weirdos. Mane rust, more commonly referred to as tail rust, occurs on the metal washer inside the pony's bodies. This spreads out to their tail, creating a brown or reddish stain. You can usually prevent tail rust by removing the washer or clamp that's attached to the pony's tail. You can remove rust using, get this, rust remover as well as toothpaste. Now, this is pretty gross, but even more gross than tail rust is the Betty Bye eye rust, which gives the already uncanny looking baby ponies a sickening brownish red eye color. 1986 Czechoslovakia lead poisoning incident. In the year 1986, an unlicensed version of My Little Pony that used almost identical molds was manufactured in Czechoslovakia, although the molds used contained hazardous levels of lead, which seeped into the plastic solution that was used to make the ponies, Exovinyl 621. If you want to look into it, just look up My Little Pony E621. This entry is a joke, don't look that up if you do not want to see nasty things. There is no Czechoslovakian bootleg of My Little Pony that caused people to have lead poisoning. I put that on the Iceberg chart just so I could fill up space. George Dunsey, true creator. George Dunsey is an executive at Hasbro who is instrumental in gaining the license from Takara to create what we now know as the Transformers. He also did work on other iconic franchises, including My Little Pony. Although, there is a discrepancy between him and Bonnie Zachary, who many fans, including me, claim to be the true creator of the brand. Zachary apparently pitched the idea of a horse toy to Hasbro several times before My Little Pony, but was turned down because Hasbro didn't think it would appeal to little girls. To quote Bonnie, quoting Hasbro, "Little girls like to cook and clean and iron. little girls aren't like you. In 1981, Hasbro's Romper Room division, under Dunsey and with Zachary as designer, created My Pretty Pony, which was spun off into My Little Pony after the suggestion that it should be smaller and softer. Bonnie would lead this redesign, making the realistic colored prototypes that were mentioned earlier. Before it took off, Hasbro never really believed in MLP or Zachary's idea. They originally weren't even going to sell it because, again, they didn't think it would have any appeal. If My Little Pony never did have any appeal and never took off, do you still think the who's the true creator argument would exist? I don't know. All I'm saying is that if Pony wasn't a hit, George might not have wanted to take as much credit for it. /LH. Pony cancer. The last thing you'd want in your G1 ponies would be plastic-borne fungus, but as it turns out, that might be what you get. Pony cancer, sometimes referred to as SMOOZE, refers to several types of mold and fungus that can infect the plastic on a pony. Mold comes in several different types. Pin dot mold is mold that appears as tiny dots on a pony's body. This type of mold is contagious, believe it or not. So if a pony has this type, it needs to be quarantined. Fungi that live on the surface of the ponies often cause these brown spots like the one shown here. They also need to be quarantined so that the fungus doesn't spread through the air to the other ponies. The fungus is also less likely to spread in less humid areas, so keeping humidity low when dealing with pony fungus is the key. From all the sites I've seen, the terminology used, like pony cancer and especially SMOOZE, is pretty shaky. SMOOZE sometimes means mold, or fungus, or both, or dirt that gets into the plastic. Pony cancer is also confused with regrind, and the term pony cancer is also used by some people to describe the general deterioration of the plastic. Hot dog horse meat. In the My Little Pony movie, Baby Lickety Split gets called a hot dog as an insult by who I'm going to assume is Baby Lofty. This is possibly a reference to how hot dogs are often thought to contain horse meat. I mean, they do in some parts of the world. Stranger Things Brony. In Season 3 of the hit Netflix series Stranger Things, the character Dustin reveals that he enjoys My Little Pony because of its elements of fantasy and adventure. However, he says that in the latest episode of My Little Pony, Applejack gets captured and transformed into a dragon. What he's referring to is Rescue at Midnight Castle, which is a special. It aired as part of the My Little Pony and Friends series, but not until November of 1986. Stranger Things Season 3 takes place in the summer of 1985. Not only did Dustin incorrectly refer to the first My Little Pony special as an episode, he also must not have been aware that Escape from Katrina was the most recent MLP outing, being produced in March of 1985. #FakeFan. And if we're on the topic of inaccuracies involving MLP stuff takes place in the past, I should also mention the Alicorn Twilight plush in Black Widow. There's a scene that takes place in 1994, but there's a G4 plush. How hard would it have been to track down a G1 style plush, or even just get a random plush of some public domain animal? Wow,
Boy,
I sure
really
hope somebody was fired for that blunder. Oh my gosh, it's this thing again! I'm working on some new character slides, so expect an upgrade to this pretty soon. That's the Iceberg. It was a long process, but in the end it turned out to be a lot of fun. I really hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. Doing a deep dive into all these weird ponies and all these fun facts is really interesting to me. Shout out to all my Yak Tier supporters on Patreon. A Kawaii Dragon, Keaton Cryer, Cascadiarch, Bad Bessie, Damian, Booth Taste, Marshmallow, Zeflo, and Goose Nerd. If you want to support me on Patreon, go to the link in the description or go to patreon.com/shunks. I plan on adding more things to my Patreon, like more frequent video updates as well as polls, so be on the lookout for that. Don't forget to follow me on my socials for art and other random stuff. Commissions are still open if anyone's interested. And of course, if you want this video to reach more people, give it a like and comment down below. Subscribe and hit that little notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new videos or live streams. Until then, goodbye.